I'm nervous about opening it, although not for why you'd think. Which is a slightly compromised, but still more or less intact, well-made hard plastic copy of a Marx Toys A-Wing spaceship. Vintage. Mid-1950s, for sure. That's the hard plastic. And we're missing one post outright broken off. There's a remainder for another one. So one original wheel left, but it's missing a logo mark. And I took it to some of the people that would know, whether it was or wasn't. And the verdict was pretty much, no, it's not by Marx. It was probably made from an altered Marx mold. Maybe in South America, maybe in Mexico, maybe as far away as Australia. It's definitely vintage, and it's been around. It's been part of someone's collection for a long time before I came into it, and it is absolutely gorgeous. As a matter of fact, I didn't pay any more than I did for all four of these recasts that were made in Mexico, cast in soft plastic during the 1990s. Here's the A-Wing equivalent. Let's do just at least a comparison of the sculpting details. I love the American Air Force flags on this yellow thing, by the way. I don't have a problem with the soft plastic recasts, although as forms, although they're definitely not as desirable as collectibles unless you're just looking for to take pictures of. In which case they work just fine, and I figured, well, a real one will work even better. Something to prop up the nose, but that would be about it. It's only going to probably be used as a photographic subject unless it is some sort of a recast. Recast is the wrong word. Either they authorized the mold's use, granted that it was changed to remove their logo, or somebody swiped one. So it might have been farmed out to a company in a different region like Australia or Mexico that wasn't a direct competitor for Marx's North American market or their British market for that matter. It's from the 1950s, and that's good enough for me. It's going to get a nice little wash down from me before much else happens to it, and then I'm going to think about how I would resurrect the posts. After I figure out how to compensate for the busted wheel posts, that might go into a piece of art that would be priced accordingly. Hell yeah. So there's the spaceman at Bob's Used Rockets and RV commiserating with a alien used car salesman or used rocket salesman over the price of a busted down no-name brand A-Wing. I did look through Blastoff and went to the message boards, and there's no indication of the vintage companies like Clearware or Moldex or Tudor Rose reproducing the Marx ships. And that makes sense because Marx had their own distribution networks that went through Britain and Europe, probably Australia as well. But we can still have fun with it. I mean, it's still beautiful regardless of what it is. And, one of the things that used to irk me as a kid is when you'd get your space toy set and the astronauts weren't in scale with their vehicles. So I always make a point because, having the figurative representation there gives the viewer something to identify with. If it's just a ship on its own, okay, great. Well, now we've got, the spaceman at Bob's Used Rockets and RVs or some other narrative potential like that lends interest to it. And I got out the Repro Marx Moon ship from the Moon base sets there with some of the 35 millimeter Mystery Spaceship and Space Ranger figures. With those as well. These were never issued with these ships were never issued with figures. I'm just sort of having some fun here with it. Those kind of go with it. I think the Golden Astronauts do a better job of approaching the scale of it. They are near 1:64 scale, although that won't cut it with double gunship over here. There's a little multiple toy makers made copy of a LP Toys Spaceman and a copy of a giant Spaceman, and they're both clearly too big for that. Here's a Golden Astronaut with a, they're looking much better. Over here, my favorite of the ships is the double cabin one here in red, and again the giant and the giant Spaceman. And that's an actual LP Toys reduced size scale, or presumably an LP Toys reduced scale. And they're still too huge for it. But the one they work best with is the clamshell ship. Here we've got a crew refueling and exiting the vehicle after a successful mission doing something. And, you know, originals of these ships go for $175. And you know, getting a busted cast off for $20, it would have been a great deal. Even if it's a reproduction, it's not something you're going to go Amazon or the Walmart site or wherever you'd be buying your toys from and ordering it from them. I don't know of BMC or anybody. Nobody's making Marx spaceships anymore. You'd have to go to a specialist. You're not going to find these forms around, so getting them in a recast configuration is, you know, I don't have to get hung up on somebody trying to auction one off for $200, which is what I saw one go for once. You know, why not just get your set? And at some point when I'm able to have the financial means to go out and get these things, I'll get my full set of Marx spaceships. That's not going to be a problem. That's bucket listed. We'll get that done. Until then, you know, we make do with the recasts and have fun trying to think of imaginative ways to use them. Doing something. At Honest Bob's Used Rockets and RVs, you can really get out and kick the tires.
Miles and miles and miles.